So Fumino's love life is like her cooking. It starts off a disaster, and now it's super delicious, or it just tastes like lemons. Anyway, hello everyone and welcome to the Enemies Elite, and thank you for joining me as we talk about chapter 168 of the We Never Learn manga series. And this chapter ends off the Furuhashi route in a very enjoyable fashion. Yes, this route has been absolutely fantastic from start to finish, and is possibly one of my favourite endings to the different routes thus far. The comedy was fun as we started off with some really goofy comedy between both Narayuki and Furuhashi. They both seemingly want to have a fun romantic day out together. After all, they've been dating for months now, and they've just been too busy with other things like college and their studies in general, so they haven't really had much time together. They don't feel like their relationship is evolving at a quick enough pace or even moving forward in any direction. So they're hoping that from this kind of date together, that they can kind of push their relationship to that next level, and both characters could end off feeling special. Which brings us to that focus of the chapter, which is of course the feeling of being special and loved. And that's how we get to the ending of this arc. Having the route end with a nighttime festival for me was a really smart choice, as it links back to the first festival that Furuhashi and Narayuki shared together, which, if you remembered, is the one in where they ended up sharing a room together, pretending to be brother and sister. It also ended off with them staring up at the night sky, while Furuhashi basically just kind of let out all of her passion and her dreams of starology. That's not the right word, but you know, her passion and desires to like learn about the stars and to look at it, and where that passion derived from, which I thought was really nice and is a good little throwback. Plus, we had some very beautiful panels to finish off this route. The dialogue was really story-like. It felt like I was reading a romantic story that was a really high-end and quality story. Yes, We Never Learn is a romance, rom-com type of thing, but you wouldn't really put it in the category of classy romantic story genre. But the final pages actually made it kind of like that. We have a scene where Furuhashi is talking about whether or not, her inner thoughts. And she says, if there are as many possibilities as there are stars in the sky, and if within that myriad of possibilities, this moment is one of them, could anything be more precious than this? That right there was amazing. Having that line in this chapter really helped make this chapter feel more special and more romantic. As personally speaking, I wasn't the biggest fan of this chapter, at the beginning. Yes, the comedy was good, but there was one thing that kind of hindered my enjoyment while reading this chapter, but I feel slightly different about it now that I have a little bit of time to think. But nevertheless, having that line just adds that kind of feeling when you're reading this chapter. Plus, the fact that this chapter once again ends with the stars links to the theme of Furuhashi's character and her love for them, just the stars in general. We know that she's passionate about that, but we also know that she's passionate about Narayuki. She loves Narayuki and Narayuki loves her. So adding the two things that Furuhashi loves in the same scene towards the end to end off her story just adds that little touch of realistic happiness that just makes you appreciate the development that both Narayuki and Furuhashi have had throughout this arc. The kiss scene was actually really good for Narayuki's character. I like the fact that Narayuki is the one who actually instigates the kiss to Furuhashi after the interruption, as it shows that he's become more aware and able to understand the feelings of a lady, which is something that Furuhashi has been teaching Narayuki throughout the entire manga. Another example of Narayuki being able to understand the feelings of a lady is when Azumi and Kirisu lean on him and he knows that Furuhashi is going to get annoyed by this action. So this basically shows more development and just shows how far Narayuki's character has come in terms of understanding the psychological aspects of a female character, which is something that I thought was a really nice touch to this really joyful and happy ending. Now, I mentioned not being happy with something in this chapter, until after I had some time to think about it. And while I was actually reading this chapter on my first initial run through, I wasn't the biggest fan of the other girls returning. But then I thought about it a little bit more and I racked my brain and I actually realized the reason as to why they were implemented into this chapter. And once I realized that, I thought, hold on a minute, that was super clever and brilliant story writing. The fact that Uruka, Rizu, Azumi, and Kirisu, and pretty much all the other friends kind of arrive in this chapter is simply to push Furuhashi and Narayuki out of their comfort zones and help kind of instigate that evolution in their relationship. Uruka and Rizu go up to Furuhashi and are like, yeah, if you don't do something soon, we're going to steal him right underneath you. Obviously, this is going to cause Furuhashi to kind of, put on a big girl pants and kind of try something a bit more bold and daring. We see her act a bit bold by wearing this new swimsuit, which she does look fantastic in, by the way. And it does looks really nice on her character. But nevertheless, she tries to give him that kind of home-cooked cooking. And that's something that they've really pushed in this series, is the fact that when a girl cooks for a guy they like, it's something really special. Azumi and Kirisu hanging on Narayuki is basically just kind of getting Narayuki to realize that, hey, Fumino might not like this happening, so don't get into situations like this when you're with Furuhashi. She won't appreciate it. And I like that because the other kind of cast members arrive to kind of push them into a better scene, a better setting. This whole thing about them moving to different places and finding something else to be together and to do, leading to a nighttime festival, was actually really smart again. Super cool, super great. And I just thought it was a really good use of characters and good storytelling and writing. So it's always worth just having a little ponder about what you've read, even after you've read it, because it might change your perspective on things just like it has with me, and it might add to your enjoyment. But obviously, on the other hand, it could also do the opposite and decrease your enjoyment. But this was a positive, so thumbs up for that. Overall, though, I really like this chapter. It was one of the better endings of a route that we've had thus far. That being said, though, we've only had 3 endings, so we still got the Azumi and the Kirisu one, but honestly, I really did like the route overall. Now, saying that, this chapter 168, wasn't my favourite Furuhashi chapter. I still think that chapter 167 was a bit better, in my personal opinion, but the art style in this chapter was really good. The scenes in it and the way they used characters was really good and smart. I like that. Furuhashi's character looked great. The last 4 pages and the kiss scene was well drawn and just kind of shot in the sort of way that the angles were done. And honestly, I just enjoyed it overall. And it doesn't matter if you loved this chapter or if you thought that another chapter was slightly better. You can still enjoy it if you like Furuhashi's character. But that being said, I really can't wait until Azumi's route comes along. Azumi is one of my favourite characters, and I'm hoping for something creative and fun. And I think Azumi, out of all the characters that we've had thus far, has the biggest potential to be a tsundere, which I always like those characters, not gonna lie. Shitoge and other sort of tiger, love those type of characters. Let's see if Azumi goes down that route, because we didn't get that kind of big reveal that she likes Narayuki. We had that kind of subtle, I'm just gonna sit in the corner and be alone. That's what the kind of feeling we had from Azumi, but hey, that's for another time. This chapter was really good. I like the way they ended it off. I thought it was a really smart chapter. Let me know all of your thoughts down in the comment section below on this chapter. Did you like it, or would you have changed something else? If you would have changed something, let me know how you would have changed it, and we can have a fun discussion going in the comments. I really do like to hear your thoughts, and yeah, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me, and for more We Never Learn content on a week-to-week basis, as long as there's a chapter. But with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed. Have a great day. Arigato, matane. Goodbye.